And we are back. It's a week 3 review of the NFL. It's the Punt Boys. Bish, I'll start off with saying obviously another, I'd say, disappointing week all around. I think Twitter's blowing up with how bad fantasy is this year, how tough everyone's finding it. League scores averaging is lower than it's been in years. I know we like to start the show with positivity, but where you at, Bish? Where you at with fantasy, and what's your thoughts on how it's been through the first 3 weeks of the season?
Yeah, my first pre-Sunday to really indulge and get the TV out, the extra TV, dual screens, the build up to red zone and everything. And yeah, it's been, I don't know, it's just been quarterbacks and wide receivers aren't really doing it, are they? Defenses seem to be on top at the minute. There's a lot of rushing of the ball, a lot of field goals. So yeah, we're just waiting for that step, I think, and hopefully it comes another couple of weeks. We talk about it the last 2 weeks. We've talked about sort of teams so slowly ambling into it. A lot of in the off season of players resting, not getting the reps in. And we're just hoping it falls into place because, week 3, the season goes by pretty quick. Before we know it, we'll be halfway through and, hopefully there's going to be a lot more action to come.
Yeah, you're right. Obviously, it's like I said, it's a bit disappointing. I were there. What did I have? I had about 50 different snacks. I did what you did, Bish. Snacks, everything going off, multiple screens on my phone, TV, computer. I think I've got to admit, Bish, it's the first red zone in forever. I fell asleep at one point.
Yeah.
Fell asleep. I was there watching, and I think the first hour of red zone was electric, wasn't it? There were about 10, 12 touchdowns very early on, and then it quietened up, and I've just caught myself 10 minutes gone by. I think Devonta Smith had a few catches, and I was devastated. So, I hope it picks up. Like I said, rushing, that they're calling it 1960s football again. For people for the English fans who don't know, NFL back in the 60s and earlier, it was pretty much all running. There'd be 2 or 3 running backs getting 1,000 yards, which obviously, 1,000 to 2,000 yards more regularly. It was a very different league back then. Quarterbacks did much less passing volume, more dink and diving, finding little gaps and slowly moving upfield. I think we've all been spoiled, Bish, the last couple of years, like you said, with Mahomes, with Brady, with multiple quarterbacks in their prime, and it was unbelievable. So yeah, I think a bit of a transition going on, but hopefully there were signs of what's to come, Bish. I'll say there were signs of what's to come.
Yeah. Some teams are flying, but a lot. It's this blanket looking defense of cover 2, which is just your 2 safeties 2 cornerbacks in the middle of the field, and it seems like quarterbacks are just reluctant to throw the ball. The wide receivers aren't getting that space and don't want to throw it into tight windows. But we've got some quarterbacks who are doing it. A guy who I'm going to bring up soon. Well, I'm fresh off the back of an unbelievable late game, but I don't want to spoil it too early.
We'll not spoil it, but I will say, wait till the end. If you're watching the show, if you're watching it for the waiver wires, click on the end, because we've got a blockbuster trade in the Punt League. Obviously, as you know, we have a league that we run. We want more and more people to join it each year. And the 2 people hosting this show might have come off with a blockbuster trade. I had a bunch of assets. Bish needed some help, and we've come together, and I think we've crafted one of the craziest trades ever, and I think I will get slaughtered a little bit. So we'll see what everyone thinks. But yeah, please give your messages on that. Click if you have to, make sure you watch the end and have a laugh with us. First off, Bish, though, it is Monday. We are coming fresh off Red Zone. It's Overreaction Monday. What's your crazy take going into the season going forward?
You've been pretty unimpressed with mine, so I'm hoping this one blows you out of the water. But like I said, fresh off that Rams win, late comeback win against the 49ers, for me, Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in the league right now. and he will lead the Rams to the playoffs and win MVP.
Overreaction Monday. We've had one.
That's the big one.
That is a big one. I guess, yeah, I like it, Bish. Yeah, he looked fantastic, didn't he? Leading the drive. You'll be able to describe it better than me. But wow, give us a bit of action on what you saw, Bish, and what you why you think he is the best.
Yeah, I think he's been out this game alone. He was outstanding. You know, the Rams got bullied early doors, made some changes, and we Puka Nakua's on IR. We've got Cooper Kupp on IR. Two of the main wide receivers are gone. The offensive line is battered and bruised. You know, we've got players missing from there, and whoever's out there, it's Demarcus Robinson, it's Tutu Atwell at the minute, and he's making them. You know, he's linked to all the wide receiver passing stats records, and it's for a reason because he is so good. You know, I think I don't think I can't say he's underrated because he's won a Super Bowl now, but I think he is so good. He's just making things happen, and we saw it in Week 1 against Detroit again, another great team, and he kept us in that one, and didn't quite work against the Cardinals. That was a big blowout, but this one, yeah, just some of the throws he was coming up with. You know, even moving in the pocket, you know, you don't really know him for his footwork, but he's got a little bit of footwork, beating defenders. It was just incredible to watch him pick apart that defense.
Well, like, as you said there, I'm laughing. I actually was sat looking through my waivers, looking through who I'm going to pick, what my team needs, and I thought, I need a bit of wide receiver depth. And I was generally considering putting bids down for Tutu Atwell. And I don't think there's another time in this world. No offense to you, Tutu, great name. Come up, had an amazing game, but there's not. I don't think there was a world where I think I'd be considering picking up Tutu Atwell. But as you said, probably does give it shows off the talents of Stafford that people will be picking up Tutu Atwell. I have no doubt about it. He's probably the number 1-2 option on a Rams offense with Matt Stafford at QB. They do get the ball rolling, and I think the defense helps. That it's not very good at moments. Yeah. So they're getting into shootouts. They're going at it. Yeah. Tutu Atwell better be thanking Matt Stafford, and I'm sure he'll be getting picked up in a lot of leads along with Demarcus Robinson on the back of Matt Stafford's talent. So yeah, I think, as you said, Bish, it's just one of those where the modern quarterback in the last couple of years, they're going for these athletes. I think they've been starstruck by the Lamars, by the Josh Allens. They're looking for these dual threat QBs. And they're forgetting about the number 1 job of a quarterback: read a defense and hit the open man. Yeah. Not many of them can do. Not many of these new QBs can do it at moments. Obviously, a man who I've drafted a lot of, Anthony Richardson. Like, there's a few names that are really struggling with the basics of being a QB. And Matt Stafford, QB of a bygone era, could be MVP if he gets Rams in the playoff. He's MVP. I'll give you it.
He's going to have to be, because, like I said, he's going to smash all the passing records to get there. Because, like you said, they're behind in a lot of games, so you know he's working overtime just to keep the Rams afloat.
My overreaction Monday, and I'm going to develop of the one I went last week. I talked about the Minnesota Vikings being the top team in the NFC North. Not that big of a take now. Very likely to happen. But I'm expanding on it, similar to yours. Sam Darnold is this year's MVP, Bish, and I don't think at the moment there's a doubt about it.
He's been outstanding, hasn't he? And I've literally got him written down here. He's the only quarterback so far this season to throw for 2+ touchdowns each week. He actually had 4 this past week, so he's on fire. That offense is on fire, and he just looks like a crazy stat as well that I read. He's actually younger than Joe Burrow, so he's not old. You know, he could be the franchise quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. That quarterback that they needed after Kirk Cousins left. Could leave JJ McCarthy in a tight spot, but it's all happening for him. Yeah, he's filled with confidence. He's making the throws, and what can I say? He's got the best wide receiver in the game as well, which helps.
It does. I know what it seems like. That's the key. I know it's a simple one. Get yourself, if you've got a young QB that's clearly got talent. I think a lot of people like Darnold. I watched a video earlier on of Bill Belichick talking about saying, "Oh, the Jets were the only ones that never liked Darnold." But I think, yeah, if you give your star QB a superstar wide receiver, build that chemistry, build that confidence. It is a confidence position. You can do it. We've seen it with Josh Allen. We've seen it with Lamar and Mark Andrews, who's now probably going to get brought up sadly in a different reason. But you get someone who can receive the ball. You've got Mahomes in, obviously Kelsey. If you get them just a receiver that will catch the ball wherever you throw it, whatever mistake, slight inaccuracy you might make, it helps. It certainly helps. So yeah, quickly go over tags. He apologised he can't be here, but he has given us a Overreaction Monday take, and he's got Bo Nix. Obviously, as a Denver fan, I don't think anyone will be very surprised. He thinks Bo Nix is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, Bish. And what's your take on that?
He's got the least amount of pressure on him, I think. You know, you look at the Caleb struggling massively. Jaden Daniels looks okay, but I don't think Washington are going to win many games. Quite possibly in the same situation as the Broncos. But to be fair to him, he did look good, and it was the weekend of upsets. You know, Tampa Bay -6.5, I think they were, and they just blew him to bits, didn't they? And he looked good, Bo Nix, especially again. You mentioned it. This new school of quarterback, they use the legs a lot, and he made a lot of rushing yards. I think they sort of covered up his passing sort of inefficiencies, shall we say? But again, he's confident. He's finding Cortland Sutton, and they were just absolutely dominant. So you know, it's nice. Tag gets that win. You know, a bit like myself. You know, they get that win. They're not 0-3. There's some life in them yet, and he's got a young quarterback to hopefully who can prosper.
So it's a fantasy show, Bish. Talking Bo Nix, you've seen the rushing upside. He's building his confidence. There are a lot of QBs that are struggling that got drafted. I don't think many people are drafting Bo Nix in your fantasy draft. Do you pick him up? And who? Give me a name who you've got above. Who you've got Bo Nix above for the rest of the season going forward.
There's not that many, if I'm honest. But being honest, I think I won't pick him up because I don't think others would pick him up. So I think he'll always be on the waivers. You might need him. For me, it's just when do you play him? Like if you've got a starting quarterback and you've got Bo Nix, your bye week possibly if it works out that he's got a good fixture. But I'm not. I need to see more. I need to see it happen a few more times. I think the more he's the starter, so the more he plays, he'll get that confidence. He'll understand NFL defenses a little bit better. Hopefully, the mistakes stop. But to be honest, no, I'm not picking him up. I'm not playing him.
No, honestly, people watching, don't pick him up. Don't get caught.
I think I'd have him ahead of Justin Fields. Just because of the way the Steelers play. Justin Fields is very limited. He's just a game manager these days. So if I do need, I'll probably have him ahead of Justin Fields, and that's probably maybe ahead of Gardner Minshew as well. I'm just trying to reel off bad quarterbacks here. Bryce Young, yeah.
You've got Anthony Richardson, as I do in one of my other leagues. I've drafted him early. There's Bo Nix on the waiver wire, Bish. Richardson's getting 5 points the last couple of weeks. Would you consider that move, or would you stay away?
No, I think you've got to keep Richardson. Richardson is really good throwing it like 40 plus and awful throwing it like 0 to 20. So, but just with that rushing upside and that offensive line, I think you've got to keep Richardson. Just for the upside, you know, he's a rushing touchdown and he does hit those bombs. But yeah, I can't. No, not for me.
Fair enough.
Bo Nix isn't staying on the waiver wire.
I'm sure Tag. Yeah, I bet Tag's not happy. I bet Tag's happy he's not watching that right now. We've got the injury report, Bish. A couple of injuries going into the week. A couple of moments we probably have to talk about. I'm going to start us off. The Devonta Smith highlight, Bish. What's your take? Obviously, he's got concussion. He's out for 1 week minimum, depending on how good or bad he recovers from this concussion. It's very hard to tell with concussions, isn't it, Bish? So, what did you think of the play? Did the refs get it wrong? and what does that mean for fantasy?
Yeah, it was a wallop on it from behind, real bad hit. And for fantasy, if you're mainly, well, I'm not really sure. We've got AJ Brown's already out for starters with his hamstring. Now you've got Devontae Smith out. I think if you're a Barkley owner, you're licking your lips here because he's involved as it is, but now he is, and we saw against the Saints, late in the fourth quarter, he's going to have to pick this team up and carry it on its back like he's done for years at the Giants. Only this time it's a much better offensive line that is working behind. So I think Barkley owner, you're licking your lips. Dallas Goedert, now he becomes one of the main wide receiver options there. He had a massive play, I think 66-yard reception late in the game again. My worry on that team is Hurts. Hurts since last year has the most fumbles in the league. I think he has 26 fumbles since the start of last season. He's very loose with the ball. So yeah, that'd be my worry. But at wide receiver, I'm not really sure where you go. If AJ Brown's out and Devontae Smith's out, maybe make a trade for, depending on what tight end you've got. We know tight ends are struggling. If you've got someone who you can offload and try and pick up Goddard, maybe. But based off Goddard's performance, I think you're probably going to have to overpay to pick him up at the minute.
That's the tough things. That's the toughest part about fantasy for me. The overpay, underpay, depending on the week. It's obviously if they have a good week, they get overvalued, and it's impossible to pick some up. I'd say if you're trading, if you're looking to make some trades and you need a wide receiver, Bish, I'd actually go trade for Devonta Smith. I think he's had a good year so far. He's been very, very steady in production. I don't think it's going to be a long-term injury. Check your. All I'm saying is check your Devonta Smith owner. Sometimes owners panic. Sometimes, as we saw in our own punt league when George Kittle, George Kittle got released to the waiver wire. I'm hoping he says it's by accident.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake. Yeah,
Yeah, because I thought, wow, that is an overreaction. Panic, but yeah. I think
I'll one up you there, Joe, and I'll say go get AJ Brown because we know Devontae Smith. It's concussion, so potentially 1 week, but all being well, he's fit and able. He comes back the week after that. AJ Brown, there's a cloud around him. He's missed. This is his second game. He's missed now with a hamstring injury. Hamstrings, they can, these fast twitch guys, they can linger a little bit. So if you're in a position where you maybe got a couple of wins on the board, you've got that AJ Brown owner who's, sweating a little bit, is against it. He needs a couple of wins or he needs to pull out a win next week. You might be able to nick him there and offer him something that can sort of benefit him now. And then you've got AJ Brown there later on in the season. So that's what I'm sort of looking at now. 3 weeks in, who's not on free? Who's got some assets that I can sort of take and I can inject some players into their team that might give them a win in the short term.
Like it, good advice. Bish, who have you got on the injury report?
I'm coming in, and we spoke about quarterbacks. I'm coming in with Justin Herbert, and although he did play, he's got a high ankle sprain. He had to leave the game injured. And a quarterback of that quality, if he's your starter, maybe it's Bo Nix time. Maybe it is time to go pick up Bo Nix because it's one of them high ankle sprain. It's going to linger, and he didn't even, he re-aggravated it just by a simple handoff to the running back. So it's going to be one of them that it's not even contact injury. So I think he will be touch and go for a long time now. It's not one of those that just disappears. It's going to be lingering for a while. He was in a walking boot after the game. I think he's had scans and it's all clear, but it's just a niggly one. So, and that I think that affects obviously all they don't throw the ball a lot, the Chargers, but it will affect obviously their wide receivers. Tyler Heineke come in instead of when Herbert went out. So I think the only piece there that you want to own is J.K. Dobbins going forward.
And with you, Bish, I'd even say it probably handicaps Dobbins a bit as well. Because I think the one as we saw in that second half when Herbert's out, there's no option that you don't have to keep the defense on. Herbert's that good of a QB, can read the defenses, can pull off great throws. That I think he does keep them cornerbacks honest. He keeps them linebackers honest. I think this affects the full team, Bish. I think he's that impactful for the Chargers offense that Dobbins even goes from me from this year has been a running back 1, running back 2 in your team minimum. I think this probably pushes him back down to flex. You've got other options. You're definitely looking elsewhere. For me, he's not a must start anymore, Bish. I think you play it by ear. You look how the workload will be there, but let's see if he has any success with Herbert not there and no honesty in that defense and stacking the box.
Yeah, I like that. Like you said, the play action is very nullified there. You can stack the box, and probably on the other side of the ball as well. Joey Bosa left the game injured, which, obviously if the defense is not firing, that's a double blow for J.K. Dobbins there. So yeah, watch out your J.K. Dobbins. It might be a chance to try and sell high, try and get rid of him and bring in someone with a bit more longevity in him.
Say sell high because in every league there's always a couple of people who aren't on top of the news. Might have had a weekend away, a few drinks at the weekend, still a bit hungover, not on top of things. Go sell J.K. Dobbins high and go pick up another piece because I think for the next couple of weeks minimum, I don't think we'll see the same success as we've had so far. Bish, I've got one more for you. I've got Sam Laporta. He obviously picked up, re-aggravated. It's a low ankle sprain, so a bit differently than Herbert, that he will recover from this. But where'd you go as a Sam Laporta owner, Bish? Where'd you go? You've got him in our leagues.
I've got him in the punt, and I reached on him, I think, 3rd round, possibly, maybe 4th, I can't remember. But yeah, I'm stuck. I did put him on the trade block and try and get rid of him earlier on in the week, and that didn't work. And now he's injured. I'm definitely stuck with him. So I think we saw a bit of life in the Lions offense, but there's a lot of mouths to feed. Like you said, they went back to running the ball this week. It's the tight end. It's just a minefield, isn't it? Really, it's these top tight ends. It's just an absolute minefield at the minute. So I think stick with him. Maybe like you said, look on the waiver wire. There might be some that you might be able to pick up and stream just on week to week matchups. But you think a player of that quality, just a low ankle sprain, so hopefully in a couple of weeks he's back flying and getting some yards and touchdowns, hopefully.
I'll tell you a move I've done. I also did the same as you. I've reached high on Sam Laporta in my other league that I do, Bish, and I actually got him in the 2nd round, so that makes me feel incredibly sick. And I am 2-1 in that league somehow. I've got lucky, but I picked up Zach Ertz, Bish. I picked up Zach Ertz. If he's still out there, go pick him up for the sole purpose. Them QBs, them dual threat QBs, do for some reason like big bodies. They like the tight end position. It's only, as we've discussed it for years, haven't we? To be fair, Bish, the safety valve, the tight end, if he's good enough, is a safety valve and receiver. We saw it last week in Ertz. He picked up plenty of receptions, and I'm watching tonight very closely. Well, I'll get the highlights on because it's at 1:40. I'll get the highlights. I'll be watching the highlights very closely because I think if Ertz keeps his uptick in momentum and keeps that connection with Jaden Daniels, I'd say pick him up ASAP. Pick him up. Well, we've got the waiver wire coming up, but I don't know if he's in everyone's waiver wires. But be crafty and try pick up a backup QB just in case it keeps going on for Laporta. I think it for me, Bish. I panicked and I've looked at alternative options just in case this Laporta trend continues.
Yeah, well, with the injury, you might need one this week. So yeah, I think it's just week to week and see how you go. I'm having my fingers crossed. I'm gonna stick with him. I'm gonna ride it out. But unless someone comes in for a trade, who knows?
Bish, new segment so far. I've coined it Panic Station. Are you on the train, choo-choo, or are you staying on the platform waiting and sticking with the person you drafted? I'm going to list out a couple of names for you. We'll talk through them. You can list a couple to me, and we'll see whether you're on the panic bus and you're moving on. I've jumped the gun by mentioning Sam Laporta actually, because But we're going to talk through a few players here and see whether you're on the station. My first player I've got for you, Bish, Mark Andrews. Are you on? Are you on the train? Are you still? Are you sticking with him? Sticking with him if you.
I'm petrified, and he's on my list here. I was going to bring him up myself.
Oh, sorry.
Week 3, only one target, no catch. He only played 33% of snaps. His snap count has gone down week by week. 74 week 1, 63 week 2, now 33. I'm worried. I'm panicking like mad. I am panicking like mad.
Yeah,
I honestly don't know what, because you'd think with Derrick Henry running the ball like he did against Dallas, your tight end's there, you'd at least have him on the field as a blocker. He wasn't even on the field, so I'm panicking.
I think the angle I've seen in support of Mark Andrews is obviously Derrick Henry was just running wild. They needed blocking tight ends. They didn't need receiving tight ends on the field because Henry was just doing whatever he wanted, and they were going to stack the box and make sure that he got the results that he were getting throughout the whole game. But then you look at week 1. Obviously, the man who I got in waivers very early, you've got Isaiah Likely going off. He's outscored Mark Andrews other than week 2. He's outscored him again this week.
Barely. He's just
barely, but just about. It looks like to me that if it is the pass game, Likely's uptick in receiving, it's going to go to him more than Andrews now, and Andrews looks like he's going to get traded in a couple of weeks. Come the trade deadline, I think he'll be one name that a few clubs, maybe with a Bo Nix, a struggling quarterback, might go and get a Mark Andrews, a tried-tested tight end, because it looks like he's not needed in Baltimore anymore, Bish.
That's a big call. I can't join you on that one, but I think you've seen it though. Like you said, you're right. Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, they are sort of covered out the game, but in the big games at the back end of the year, that's when they'll come to life, which is no good for us as fantasy players. Our season will be pretty much over then. You need them now, so that's the only worry for me. It's like, and how do you go about that? If you've got a Mark Andrews, if you've got a Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, you've picked them early. Let's be honest. So it's now, you're looking around the sort of the bottom of the barrel to see what's on the waivers. There's no way you can trade these guys because of the value you've drafted them at. You're taking a massive loss. Fair play if you want to do that, or you're just going to have to sit tight and, like you said, try and do it week to week and see what happens.
Well, I'll go through some players on the waiver wire and tell me whether you'd take them above Mark Andrews if you could redraft again. I'm going to start off probably an easy answer at the moment, Cole Kmet.
Yeah. I'd probably take him now. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have drafted him. Just, again, there's so many mouths to feed. But at the minute, Keenan Allen's injured. I think Roma Dunze is not 100% fit. So, yeah, I think Cole Kmet is a great option if you can manage to pick him up and stream him now.
Andrews or Noah Fant?
Nah, I'm Andrews. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Noah Fant. I'm that far off Andrews. I think he's going. I think his time's up in Baltimore, and I'd take a Fant. I'd take a Ertz. I'd take a lot above Andrews. Yeah, I generally would. Anyone who's shown any production, I'm taking, because I just don't see it, Bish. I think probably because I have drafted not drafted, because I've picked up Likely and I've seen Likely about. It looks like a big character within the team. It looks like a well-liked person as well, which I know doesn't change anything for his fantasy production. But I think that it looks like he's taking a bigger role in the team. Andrews is phasing out, and I think we'll see him on a different team by the end of the year, Bish. That's
that's a big call, that.
Yeah. I've got another player for you here, Bish, and one that, again, I think a lot of people will be disappointed in. Not as big of a name, but I've got DeAndre Swift.
Right. Yeah.
Are you
I was a massive fan of Swift when he came into the league at Detroit, and for whatever reason, he's just not. I don't know. It's just not happened. Again at Philadelphia, it didn't happen, and this Chicago Bears offense is questionable, very questionable. They've got they put a quarterback in there, a first round pick quarterback. They surrounded him with weapons, and the offensive line probably the second most important part of your offense to protect that quarterback. They're just like sieves. There's holes everywhere. He's under so much pressure. He's scrambling for his life, and I think obviously that affects DeAndre Swift. If there's no channels to run through, you're just getting smashed in the backfield constantly. So I've avoided Swift, and I'll continue to. Yeah, I won't be. I've been offered him in a few trades, but no, I'm staying away from Swift.
Like it. I've got one more name for you, Bish, and one of similar ilk. This is a bit of a new one. If you drafted someone who will come up later in the show, Ramondre Stevenson, after his 0.3 week, the talk of Thursday, Friday night, talk of the town till the Sunday games. Are you on the panic station?
No, I'm solid as a rock behind Stevenson. As long as the Patriots run the ball, Stevenson, and keep games tight, Stevenson will get you a lot of points. That was my thought process drafting him, and it still is. Because it's just, I think it was just game script. They went behind. I think they were 14-0 down to the Jets very early, and all of a sudden, for some reason, they just tried to pass with Brissett instead of just sticking to what they're good at, which is running the ball and grinding games out. So I think that's a blip. I think Stevenson will be back to normal. Hopefully, just not the weeks you play me.
Yeah, little spoiler. Bish, have you got any for me?
I'm having a look now. Mine weren't as good as yours. I'll throw one straight at you. I've got here Josh Jacobs. I know you're a big fan of Josh Jacobs. He's carrying a little. He's been niggling back injury since week 1. Maybe a little bit skewed because they did blow out the Tennessee Titans quite early, but the backup came in and actually outperformed him in terms of yardage. Josh Jacobs he's been at the peak. He's been number 1 running back. A few years ago. Is the decline happening? Are you panicking?
How do I describe this? I'm just leaning into the stage, leaning onto that. I'm not all the way in, not decided whether it's the destination I want to go. But yeah, I'm definitely nervous. Just because, like you said, I'm hoping it comes out they were definitely resting him. They didn't need to use him anymore. He does have like you said, a bit of a lingering injury. Hopefully that was just they come out, put it to bed. That's the reason why. I don't think they've fully done that yet by all report. I've not seen the report. I must have missed them if they have, because, like you said, I saw the score. Normally, when a team goes ahead, and it was still in distance where they could come back, but that normally means your running back's getting some points. It normally means they're getting them guaranteed 7 or 8 points. They're getting 70, 80, 90 yards, and you're getting the good fantasy week, the solid, steady fantasy week that you want from a running back, even on, like I said, good game script days, because when they're ahead, you run the ball and you go out the clock. I kept checking. I honestly, because it wasn't getting on red zone that much, I thought my app wasn't loading. I had bets on him. The bets wasn't loading. I thought, what's going on here? Why are they not using him? What's going on? And then, like you said, looked around and wasn't the running back getting used in the rushing game to drown out the minutes. So I'm hoping that's the reason why. I'm hoping he'll be full back in, as you said, with Ramondre in them closer games when when he is needed, when he is the top running back, and they lean on him. So yeah, one to watch out for. I see the train in the distance. I don't know yet, but hopefully, it comes flying past, and I don't have to get off on this stop.
I've got one more for you. A high-profile player, Tyreek Hill. Are you panicking? No Tua, no Tuddies? What do you think?
Choo. Yeah, deep on. I'm deep on the panic station. I'm the bus driver. I'm the train driver. I'm the one driving the train. Yeah, I was going to bring him up to you today anyway. Yeah, definitely on. I think Tyreek only works. It doesn't only work. So he is a fantastic wide receiver. He's got value everywhere. But I think you only get the best out of him if you've got a QB that can throw the ball deep. He hits them receptions very easily. I know we talk about like boom or bust type players, but Tyreek, if you've got a QB that can hit him on the deep ball, he's a boom every week. There isn't a bust because he's that good at it. He's that fast and that unguardable. When you've got someone who can't throw it more than 5-10 yards down the field, I think, yeah, I'm deep on. He was a wide receiver one. This is not a good. This is not a Mike Evans. This is not a DK. This is not a Drake London. This is not a Chase. This is close to a Chase, but it's a wide. It's the number one wide receiver, and you drafted him like it. So yes, you are panicking because your best player is not on the pitch. Your best player is not getting used, and in the short term, that there's no foreseeable answer.
What can you do? Are you benching him? Are you still playing him and hoping something happens?
You've got to play him. He's your number one draft pick, isn't he? Whatever. He's not a second rounder. I think you've got to play him. You've got to hope that he squeezes past the cornerback and makes 20 yards and gets you some more action and gets you them 10 points that just tick you along in a week. Otherwise, yeah, you're in deep trouble. So and like you said, you can't trade him like the tight end, and that's because what you're going to get for him at the moment. You're not getting much. So, yeah, you've got to ride with him and just hope McDaniels figures out some sort of funky play as he can do to keep getting Tyreek open. Because otherwise, yeah, driver of the train Joe will be coming on telling everyone, yeah, figure something out quick or you're in trouble as a Tyreek owner.
Yeah.
Bish, we'll slow it down a bit now. We're only doing one player of the week. Give me your favourite player. It's Bish's breakout. Who's your top player of the week?
My top player of the week and who I took a punt on in a few leagues, stuck him in there. It's Juwan Jennings of the 49ers. And I saw this coming. You know, those that follow us on the betting show, they'll know I saw this coming. I took that risk in fantasy and it paid off massively. 175 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 11 catches off 12 targets. So he had almost a perfect day, ruined by Matt Stafford and the Rams. But I've got him in the punt. I played him this week. I actually won by 60, so I could have benched him and still won. But he's been tremendous. There's not much more. 11 catches, 175 yards, 3 TDs. Reminds me of a prime Julio Jones.
He looked it, didn't he? Yeah. I commend your bravery for putting a tight end in the, like I said, in the flex position. Wide receiver. Sorry, yeah. He looked. He's a big body, isn't he?
He is big. Yeah.
Body, but yeah, no, I commend you for putting him in. You called it, you backed it up, and Bish's breakout. This is Bish's breakout. It's your one, I think. You called it last week. You've called it on your betting. I'm going to leave it at Bish's breakout. I'm not going to say my man. We'll just say, well done, Juwan Jennings. You deserve all the comments possible. Straight on, Bish. The Punts projects. Give me your first waiver wire pickup.
First waiver wire pickup, and I spoke about this team and this is the backup. It's Emmanuel Wilson for the Packers. He's the rookie running back drafted. One of the rookie running backs drafted. He's only owned in 6% of sleeper leagues at the minute. I think that'll go up tremendously. You know, this waiver wire. He was the backup. Like I said, Josh Jacobs has been carrying a lingering back injury at the minute. Marshawn Lloyd, the other rookie, has just been put on IR, so he's out for at least a minimum another 3 weeks. So Emmanuel Wilson is the backup. He has free reign other than Josh Jacobs. And in that second half, he outdid Josh Jacobs, really. He had 12 carries, for 50 yards, totaling 85 yards as well. 2 catches for 25 yards. So Josh Jacobs did get 14 carries to Wilson's 12, but it just shows there he will be used. So I think it's a great pickup. As I said, lingering issues with Josh Jacobs' back. To have a back who's capable of coming in and doing a job like that, and I think will only improve when the offense will only improve when Jordan Love comes back as well, which will open up more opportunities. So I think a must bench stash, definitely, if you're that Josh Jacobs owner.
I think it's like you said, it's a win-win picking him up if you do get him. Obviously, far more if you're bad on the if your record's bad. I think he's shown this week that if you are desperate, and with the offenses this year, a lot of teams are desperate. You can play him as a flex position, and if he gets your points, brilliant. But that's what the flex position I think is for, unless you've got a stacked team, which again, not many of with how this year's been. I think he's worth like you said, if he's worth a risk on good matchups like Tennessee was, the 24th ranked rush defense, and then also if Jacobs does go down, you've got a top running back in the league. You've got a Jordan Mason coming in, and you've got Wilson who's going to step in like Jordan Mason has at San Fran and probably be a top 5, top 6 running back in the league. The running game for Green Bay is rolling. Had a tough start the very first half of week 1. Otherwise, it's been again no holds barred. They've been running where they want. Malik Willis has been running wherever he wants. The offensive line's been looking tremendous. So, yeah, I think it's a win-win. Go pick him up. Don't mess about.
Go get
him. Quick QB, Bish. Just a reminder, following him on from what Tag said last week, if Sam Darnold is still available, pick him up. There's plenty of QBs doing worse. He's got the top wide receiver in the game. Obviously, Addison's injured, but I do really rate Addison. He's just got options everywhere. He's got Aaron Jones, a brilliant running back brilliant receiving running back. He's got options. It looks like the offense is no holds barred at the moment. It's flowing. The defense is looking good. He's having free reign to throw where he wants, and he's scoring points. He's scoring points, Bish. So I think you've pick him up. If you do have as I do in one league, if you've got an Anthony Richardson, if you've got one of these other QBs who aren't doing very good, pick him up, and then at least gives you another option if he is still available.
Yeah, I agree totally. 4 touchdowns last week, 2 consecutive the weeks before that, and he is available in the punt. He is currently in the punt, quarterback number 2 on the year, and overall ranked 4th most top scoring player. So interesting.
Oh, I like it. Interesting. That normally means you're putting a bid on him, man.
Interesting.
I'll take you through my second quick Bish, and then I'll let you go. I'm going to go 2 names. I'm going to do a tight end position. Obviously, every week we're talking bad tight ends. I'm going to give you 2 to pick up here. If your tight end is one of the underperforming ones, I've got Cole Kmet. Like you said, good game script, a couple of injuries in the position, but there's worse players. He got 10 receptions on 11 targets, 97 yards and a touchdown, 20 points. I'd say keep him in. You don't have to start him, but I think with the way this year's going anyway, the more tight ends you've got around your bench, the more pivot options you've got, depending on matchup, I think the better, because there's no one guaranteed points this year. There's not many standout ones, and I'd say get as many as you can on that bench if your team allows it. The other one, who I'm probably even higher on, he's not scored as many points, but Tag might back me up in future. I'll have to ask him on the next show. He's Noah Fant. He's been slowly seeing an uptick. You're at Denver. Showed flashes of brilliance at Denver. He's now obviously for last season and a half or so. He's been on Seattle. He's had a slow start in week 1 and 2. 4 targets, then 3, but he's had 6 for 6, 6 targets, 6 receptions, 60 yards. I think that Seattle offense is just going from good to high-powered to unstoppable at the moment. They've just Geno, the other wide receivers are just, I think they're all playing that well that everyone becomes a viable option for me, Bish. And I think, again, my point is there's not many tight ends doing well. If you can get 2 or 3 on your team, base it on matchup, base it on form, base it on a bit of gut instinct, and go pick up both of these and go stack your bench up with some options, because you'll probably be getting some trade offers if the Mark Andrews owners and the other owners of the the Sam Laportas might be trying to give you some trade options so they can pivot to something else.
Yeah, I like that. 2 things there. One, I'm trying to get all the pieces of this Seattle offense that I can. Mike McDonald's come in, and I like it a lot. It's Gino's got a bit of a license to throw the ball. They're running the ball really well. Try and get as many pieces as you can. And I like that strategy, Joe, of filling your bench with tight ends. Generally, I try to fill my bench with running backs just because, through the season they come and go quite rapidly. But in this market, I think it's a good tactic there. If you can in your league, if you can pick up a few tight ends, if you afforded that luxury with your starting team, and you can add a few ones on your bench, then later on you can potentially pick up offer them out for pick up some pieces in trades, and what might cover your bye weeks as well. So yeah, I think that's a great option.
Thanks, Bish. Yeah, who else
have you got?
I know. I don't want to give you too much credit.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they do. You're not.
I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney here, the wide receiver from the Falcons. It's touch and go whether he'll be available in your waivers. In sleeper leagues, he's owned in 43% of leagues. So, not a bit of a stretch on this one, but I just really I liked him before at Chicago, and I really like him now as well. Now Kirk Cousins is getting more into that offense. Is seems to be moving a lot better, a bit more confidence. Darnell Mooney seems to be one of his favourite targets at the minute. Caught all 8 receptions at the weekend. Got a TD last week, and he's playing more and more snaps, getting more and more involved. And his next 2 fixtures are the Saints and the Bucks, which, if you take this week's performance out of the way from both of them, Saints and Bucks, we're expecting some points in those games. So they might have to throw the ball and find Darnell Mooney a lot. So I think he's if he is available, I think he's one that you can pick up and play with confidence. So I think Atlanta are, Cousins in the groove. We've seen what he can do in the Vikings. I think he can do similar at the Falcons.
Yeah, with your Bish. Yeah, I think just with how bad offense is, I think the tactic I'm going to go with going forward is kind of what we said about Fant as well, Mooney. If an offense is being even slightly successful this year, I want pieces of them offenses. There's too many bad offenses where, like, Cooper had a good week, but like the Coopers, there's a lot of players who just aren't getting the ball, aren't getting the action. I should have picked someone else because he just did have an incredible game weeks. But my point remains: there's a bad offense that there's no reliability. Get me a decent piece in a good offense, and at least, like you said, you're getting that minimum 7, 8, 6 receptions, getting the minimum points that I think are winning people leagues. These first, I think I'm seeing loads and loads of weeks being won on 92 points, 93 points, and that's not a player getting 40, 30 points. That's a full team getting 9, 10s, isn't it? So I think that's the way you have to go going forward. Get reliability over the boom bust, because there's just not enough players doing well for this year.
I think what we're seeing is there's a lot better quality of defensive linemen than offensive linemen, and it's hurting offenses massively, which is basically what you're talking about there. There's so many, quarterback isn't a very depth position as it is. When you add to that, they've got bad blockers in front of them. It's just a double whammy. So the wide receivers are struggling, the quarterbacks are struggling. It's just not very good.
I wish I need to start saving videos. Have you seen the video of Chicago's offensive line? They all dive through and end up on the floor, and they can't get the touchdown to win the game.
Oh, I've not seen it now.
I'll send you it. Yeah, have a look. Type it in. They all dive forward, miss all the linemen, and then the other line just come up and stop the running back from getting the touchdown, and effectively made it game over. So yeah, I'll send you that. It's really funny and sad if you're a Bears fan.
Poor Taylor.
Yeah, okay. Have you got any more for us, Bish, or is that your waiver wire ticked off?
I'll throw a quick one in there. It's Jalen Naylor, the wide receiver for the Vikings. You've talked really well about Sam Darnold there. Naylor's playing because Addison's out at the minute with an ankle injury, so this would be dependent on Addison still being injured. So check the injury reports on him. But Naylor, he's had a touchdown in all 3 games. We've seen the way the Vikings play. All the wide receivers are serviceable. Sam Darnold's playing really well. So if he is available and Addison remains on the sidelines, he's one that you can definitely throw in your flex and be confident that he'll get you some points.
I like it, yeah. Good pick up, especially with Addison going, not as good. It's with Addison being injured, completely with you. Bish, the fun section, the punters, best kicker of the week. What's your story? And let's highlight some good kickers.
My kicker of the week, it's Eddie Pinheiro for the Panthers. 13 points this week. He's spent many a week last season and the first 2 of this year sat on the bench, not getting much action because that offense has been terrible. And week 3, he's been called into action and he's kicked 3 field goals and the scoring touchdowns. He's actually kicked 3 extra points as well. So all of a sudden, Panthers offense looks viable. So Eddie Pinheiro earning his money at last.
Yeah, been been a sad but easy couple of weeks for him so far. And my man is a punt regular, gets best kicker of the week, probably 90% of the weeks, but he deserves another mention. It's Brandon Aubrey. Your viewers will be laughing. He got an onside kick. He kicked an onside kick. Dallas went for it. Aubrey put as much swaz as Shane Warne in his bowling days. The ball were flying everywhere, and Dallas got the ball. And what that man can do, shoot a foot with an American football, is something that I don't think many other kickers in the world can do. So fair play, Brandon. First onside kick on the season with the new rules. More and more credit to you every week.
Outstanding. First onside kick. I can't wait for him to kick a 70-yarder. It's coming. It's coming this year. Yeah, he's outstanding. Probably the only kicker these days that gets drafted probably way ahead in terms of rounds. Usually the left to the end kickers and defenses, but in all my leagues, Aubrey went, considerably earlier than he should have done. So, but it's worth it, isn't it? He's racking up the points.
Yeah. So the biggest fans, his biggest fans, the punt. We'll keep mentioning you, Brandon. The show's for us. Hopefully, one day you give us a message. That would be brilliant. Bish, thanks for this week. We've talked about hundreds of different things.
We've not even got onto the trade.
The trade, I've missed.
We've got a quick 5 minutes.
Quick 5 minutes. Sorry, Bish. Yeah, it's on the trade. Obviously, it's a close game week. I'll give you a bit about my background of why I'm basically. When was it, Bish? Was it last Wednesday?
Wednesday,
Thursday?
you sent it through. Wednesday night. Yeah,
Wednesday night and Thursday morning. I'm begging Bish, trade me CD Lamb. Trade me. I want CD. I give you about 15 different trade offers. I was chucking everything. Some things I had to reject that I did it because I regretted because I was just chucking the wall at you. But I want CD. I had 5 or 6 good pieces in my offense. I don't need 5 or 6 good pieces. I need one very good piece. And I saw my man and I wanted to go get it. Bish, take me through it. Yeah, give us your angle before I load up what we've eventually.
Wednesday night after training, I get back after training. I do what I need to do. I get in bed and I'm flicking through my phone and I've got a trade offer from Joe. What's he trying to nick off me this time? So have a look. I'm reading it. So I give him CD Lamb and Ramondre Stevenson, and he gives me. Oh, there he is. He got it up, and he gives me DK Metcalf, Bijan, and Zay Flowers. And I'm thinking, and just a bit of background. I wasn't too happy with my draft. I think my team lacks some some depth. I needed some pieces, and I was actually looking at what I could do in terms of flex and wide receiver options. So this, in terms of it, was perfect. So obviously, I checked the value. The value's in my favour, but CD Lamb, there's a bit of an attachment there for me. He won me a league last year, and he was my. I picked 102. I picked CD Lamb. I didn't really want to get rid of him, but I had to sacrifice him for the better of my team. So it took me, I think, all Thursday to think about it. Joe's sending me other things, putting me on the spot, sending me exploding trade offers. I've only got an hour to respond. Really getting me going. But then I think Thursday night, just before I set my lineup for the Thursday night game, I accept it and send it through. And again, value. I think I've got the better day of value. I really like DK. DK, I'm really happy to get him. Bijan, again, he's a great player, great name, and I'm going to keep bigging him up because if the people watch him in our league, I want to keep his value up there for when I pass him on to someone. So yeah, he's in my lineup now, but I think I'm looking to move him if I'm honest.
Yeah, like I said, I had a few pieces. Definitely by any metric, I've lost the trade in terms of pure value. I wanted CD. It looks worse on paper based on the week we've just had, because obviously CD didn't have too good of a week. DK had a fantastic touchdown and a big scoring week. But I think season on a whole, CD is still the top two, I'm hoping. Wide receiver in the league, maybe with Tyreek going down number one in the week. Number one throughout the season, sorry. Like you said, Ramondre, I give you a win with Bijan on paper, but Ramondre has his upside as long as New England find a way to get that offensive line a bit stronger. It's just a bit too weak that he obviously had his bad week. But yeah, give us your thoughts. Get your comments in. We'll clip this up. We'll make this a short. Give us as many thoughts as you can. Obviously, I've upgraded CD. I've got my number one wide receiver. I've still got Devonta Smith sat there. I've still got George Pickens sat there. So that's why I give up a bit of value to go get my number one man. And obviously, let us know what you think about this. I think, Bish, from this trade, I think we've got our number one. I think I'll see you in the final. I think I've got that talent team to make it to the final, and you've got a very deep squad now, Bish. So yeah, hopefully the Punt boys make it to the final. It was not pre-planned. I wanted CD. I had too many options, too many random people sat on my bench, and I wanted to go and get an alpha, and I got my man. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you for the trade, Bish.
I think it's perfect for those watching as well. Joe there, he saw a weakness in my team. I didn't have much depth. He knew what he wanted and he went and got it. So again, if you're in your leagues out there, have a scan through the teams, your opponents, see where they're strong, where they're weak. Look at the record. Do they need to make moves straight away? If they do, go make them. Go get your guys.
On that note, Bish, like, subscribe. Been a good fun show. Plenty to go through. Give us your thoughts on anything. Give us your thoughts on what trades you've made on any fantasy related. We'll get in the comments. We'll answer any question. But again, see you on Thursday for the betting show, Bish. And let's hope CD Lamb has a good week. See you later.
See ya.